Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this assignment. There's three things that you have to do here. You have to come up with a forecast for the 3-period moving average, and another one using exponential smoothing, and then they wanted you to draw a scatter plot of the data as well. So this is what I'm going to do. First of all, I put all this data in here, and across the top you're going to have these items. Let's focus on the 3-period moving average. We're pretending we're sitting at the end of period 12 waiting for period 13 to happen, and we need to predict what our sales are going to be. So what we do is we go equal sign average and highlight these three values, this range, and what that will do is that will tell me what my forecast would be if I used a 3-period moving average. And see, that's what I would predict it would be. The next thing I have to do is I have to do this using exponential smoothing. And the way I do that is I have to have some history involved. I start off by going to cell F5, put the 30,050 there, and then go here and calculate the smoothing error. The error is how wrong it is. See, originally, if I was sitting on the end of period 1 waiting for period 2 to happen, if I used 3050, which was the period 1 sales, as my guess for what period 2 would be, then it would be out by this minus that. So now to do my exponential smoothing forecast, I have to use the smoothing constant that was in the question. They said use an alpha. This is called alpha, a smoothing constant, multiplied by the error last time, plus what my forecast was for the last period. Okay. And then I have to take this formula. I'm just going to copy it down, and that'll tell me how wrong I would have been if I had to use 3022 as my forecast for period 3. So then what I do is I take these two items and I drag them all the way down to here. Get rid of this value field, it's not necessary. This means that using exponential smoothing I would be using a forecast of 5682. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, they asked to do, was to determine, to draw a scatter plot of this data. So the scatter plot just shows the relationship between the X and Y values here. X being the month, Y being the actual sales. So what I do here is I go to Insert, and then I go up to the Charts, and I click on the scatter plot like that. That created the scatter plot. I'm going to put this down here. If for some reason you don't have all these menu items that come up, you right click and uncheck collapse the ribbon. If you can see it all, ignore this directive. But okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the plus sign, and I'm going to add a trend line. See how it put a line on it like that? That shows that sales are going up and up and up and up. These two other methods don't really take into account that sales are going up and up and up over time, and so that's why they're so wrong, why there's such high values here. I'm also going to put the equation of the line on here. Right click, format trend line, display equation on chart. There you go. And I'm going to change this to, well, that's actually actual sales is good. The other thing I want to add is axis titles. Here I'm going to put period, and here I'm going to put sales dollars. Now the question didn't really seem to ask for it, but I'm going to put a conclusion here. Conclusion: the regression method, the chart above, is better for forecasting because it takes into account the trend upwards in the sales historically. The other thing that you have to do, which didn't really ask for it, but it doesn't make sense without it, is to actually come up with what's my sales forecast for period 13 using regression. The way I do that is there's that equation there. What I do is I put the slope of the line is 317.86. The y-intercept is 2347.6. I got these two values from this equation right here. See that? 317.86, 22347.6. And then I'm going to put in my x value, which is the period that I want to predict sales for, which is 13. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go forecast for period 13. And I'm going to go this times that plus that. That's the best estimate that I have for period 13. And I would put here, this would be the best forecast for period 13. It's the one that's going to be more accurate because sales are going up and up and up and up like this, so we would estimate that sales would be somewhere around 6480. Okay? And that's what I would turn in to the professor. Just ignore this. I would turn in something that looked like that. Hope that helps.